episode 13 of the Powerskateshow, and we should be getting our guest Ben Kruse on here any second. And boy, oh boy, was it a busy week in the hockey world, wasn't it, Alex?
Yeah, I think we need a celebration that hockey is back. Yes, yep, we got the schedules in. So I think we should do the schedule first and the free agents. So would you like to pull the free agent? No, I mean the schedule if you already have it.
Yes. Well, I unfortunately don't have it on my screen, but we do have the exhibition games coming July 28th through the 30th, and the playoffs will start August 1st, and the Stanley Cup Final should be taking place sometime in early October. Currently, Thursday, July 28th, we have the Penguins and Flyers, Maple Leafs, Canadiens, and Oilers Flames playing each other. Then on Wednesday, the following day, we have the most matchups of these 3 days. We have literally 6 games in one day. I'm going to do nothing but watch television that day. And I might even say 2 games that day. You never know. We have the Lightning and Panthers, Avalanche, Wild, Capitals, and Hurricanes, Blues, Blackhawks, Rangers, Islanders, and Canucks and Jets. Boy, I cannot wait to see the Rangers and the Islanders. Great in-state battle there. And then to wrap it up Thursday, before we head to the playoffs, we have the Predators, Stars, Bruins, Blue Jackets, and Knights and Coyotes.
I have a little complaint. Hold on. I'm pulling up the NHL app. The first day is a home run. Penguins Flyers.
Absolutely.
Isn't this nice bringing back the Battle of Alberta?
Yep. We also have Ben now, so he can certainly come join us as well.
What's up, Ben?
How are you guys doing?
Not much. So I guess we got Ben back. So thanks. So you interrupted us. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Ben Kruse. I come in. Thanks again, guys, for having me once again on the show. For those that tuned in a couple weeks, I guess, ago, I was a guest on to this Powerskate show, and I got invited to come back. So looking forward to another episode. And obviously, I love hockey, love watching it, just love sports in general, but hockey especially. I can't wait to see it return for sure. So
yeah, we're happy that we got playoffs back. So like what we're doing is that we're talking about the exhibition and the exhibition playing rounds schedule. So on the first day, July 28th, we got the Battle of Alberta. Is anybody still happy to watch that? Battle of Pennsylvania, Penguins and Flyers, and Toronto and Montreal. So Ben, which games are you looking forward to watch out of these 3?
I guess Pittsburgh and the Flyers would be interesting because I know that's kind of a rivalry for sure. So, I mean, I'd be looking forward to it. Honestly, at this point with any hockey, even if it's an exhibition at this point, hey, it's right to me. I'm ready to go watch it. So,
yeah. So like me and Grant are planning to team up with the Penguins and Flyers. But unfortunately, the Battle of Alberta is a 10:30 game. I do not care to watch. I do not care if it's 11 midnight, 1 a.m., all the way till 5 in the morning. Hey, like, as long as it's national television, hey, I'm hip with that. So July 29th, we got Carolina.
Like 3 overtimes.
Yeah. July 29th, we got the bunch of jerks taking on the Washington Capitals. Battle of Florida, Tampa and Florida, yes. Chicago and St. Louis, Colorado, Minnesota, and Vancouver, Winnipeg, and the Battle of New York, Islanders, and the Rangers. So, out of these games, which games do you guys want to or interested to watch out of these 3?
I'd say for
me,
I
think I know the one I'm here. Or you go.
You sure? Go ahead. You sure?
Yeah. You. 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 Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, I was saying I think I know which game I'm going to commentate, which would certainly be the Hurricanes and Capitals. Now, that's also going to be the one I think I'm most interested in watching. With the fact how these two teams played in the playoffs last year, definitely Washington's looking for revenge. That is 100%. They are just looking for revenge, and they Toby and the rest of the gang, they want to take out those jerks. I don't know, but that's going to be a very interesting game. And I'm also interested in, of course, about New York. That's going to be interesting. But Vancouver and Winnipeg, I think, is another very interesting matchup. Very two well-even Canada teams. That's going to be a very interesting one. So, yeah, no complaints for those three matchups. Then you had the Avalanche, Wild, Lightning, Panthers, and Blues, Blackhawks. They're kind of like the meh-ish side, in my opinion.
Yeah. I have a small complaint on Avalanche, Minnesota, Canucks, and the Jets. I would switch Canucks to the Avalanche. You got Makar versus Hughes, which we will get into that pretty soon. But they're doing the play-in, so that obviously makes sense.
Right.
I'm all in on Washington, Carolina, because I want to see them play in the Stadium Series if the Stadium Series even makes it for next year. Islanders and Rangers, I'm all in for it. 8:00 game. Who cares about it? But at least it's a nice matchup, to say the least. So, hey, July 30th, we got Vegas and Arizona, Nashville, Dallas, and Boston, Columbus. So out of these three, who do you want to watch?
Well, I want to watch the Bruins. I want to watch the Bruins and Columbus exhibition game. So, yes, sir.
All day, they got nothing against us still. We beat them last year, and they ain't going to win this year.
Yeah.
All day. I know Merzlikins is playing outstanding, but and he played pretty well against the Bruins this year, but I think exhibition playoffs, I think he's going to get rattled, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I like how
they do have a young the Blue Jackets do have a young tandem, Corpusalo and Merzlikins. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, I'm all in on watching Nashville and Dallas because yes, they played in the playoffs last year. What a show in the Winter Classic. Playoffs? I think that's chapter 3. Sorry.
As long as Corey Perry doesn't get suspended again the first 3 minutes like he did in the Winter Classic, that was rough.
Yeah, that's for sure. Anyway, before we start the whole thing, hockey is back. Please hit the like button. That means greatly appreciates to us. That's gonna make us do more podcast videos. And now it's time. Let's do our famous free agents. So we changed up to do 7 because we're about to finish up our whole free agent stuff. You know what I mean? So let's start. Let's talk about Corey Perry first, since we talked about the game misconduct back in the Winter Classic. Right wing, 6'3", 205 pounds. His last contract was the salary was $2.625 million per year. I'm sorry, there's a fly. Will he resign with Dallas or the last hurrah? Grant, would you like to start?
I'll put it this way. If the Stars win the cup, then I think Corey Perry should retire. If they don't, I think he should either re-sign with Dallas or go back to Anaheim for one final year, or another year or two, so he can retire with Ryan Getzlaf. That's pretty much all I have to say. Corey Perry is a decent role player, but definitely not the scory Corey we know from about 5-6 years ago. He's definitely fallen off a cliff statistically, but it should be interesting. I still like him. He's a fantastic veteran, and he still produces at a decent level, but I do think he'll either re-sign with the Stars or just go back to Anaheim.
Yeah, I agree with Grant for sure on that. I think that honestly, he's a proven veteran. He's been a great goal scorer for so long. He also does really well in the faceoff circle. The only place I would probably only see him go is Anaheim, where he kind of started off his career with Ryan Getzlaf. They're connected really well together. But Dallas does seem like still a great fit, especially for a guy that kind of is upper in his age. you have great talent with Tyler Seguin and other guys that kind of are younger that are proven great players right now. So that's why I would keep Perry, in Dallas, or if anywhere, probably Anaheim. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is a coin flip, but I would like to see him go to Anaheim instead. He can say one last goodbye in Anaheim, because where all of his life started in Anaheim. Played for his majority of his time with Anaheim. I think it would be a good one last goodbye, like I said, with Ryan Getzlaf and all of these guys. Kind of see him go to Pittsburgh, like we said. Like most of the veterans would like to go to Pittsburgh so that they can have good times with their the young kids that are upcoming. Probably see it go to Florida. It's a hit or miss with Florida, or maybe retire. If I've a answer, I would say he will not resign. He will go to Anaheim for one last hurrah.
Corey Perry is still too good to play in the KHL, so we can't catapult him over to Europe just yet.
Yeah, he still has a lot.
He's still
in terms of finishing off strong. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we got center from the San Jose Sharks, Joe Thornton, $2 million per year. Will he retire? So, Ben, would you like to start? Will Joe Thornton retire?
I think maybe he might have one more year or two. Obviously, I would love him to come to Boston for one more hurrah, like Corey Perry would potentially with the Ducks, because obviously Thornton is still a decent, proven third line winner at this point at his time. He's obviously still great, crashes from the net. If anything, I think that he might just have a year or two, if anything. But obviously, he's kind of not the end of his career, so he might retire within the next 1 to 2 years, but at least potentially have one more year left in his belt.
Grant, what do you think?
You see, the thing with Joe Thornton is I think he has a lot of Corey Perry's left in him. I think Joe Thornton also has quite a bit left in him, but the problem is he is the one I think has been the worst that has really dropped statistically. At least Corey Perry's still putting up decent numbers. Joe Thornton at this point is a bottom line, he's a borderline fourth liner at this point. He's done a lot. He's making the Hall of Fame. No ass. But I think if you take a look at it, I think it is time for Joe Thornton to retire, simply because the Sharks, they aren't in win now mode at all. Literally the worst team in the Western Conference pretty much, or at least one of the bottom three. And I just simply don't think, he wants to really stay around in San Jose, but then I don't really think he would want to play elsewhere. Maybe come back to Boston, the team that drafted him. But really, do the Bruins need him when they already have guys like Chara? He might even retire at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting, but I think Joe Thornton will ultimately call it a career, and rightly so. He definitely deserves to hang up the skates with, all the talent and all the accomplishments he's earned. I know he doesn't have a cup, but, a lot of, fantastic players retire without cups, and I hate to say it, but Joe Thornton, I think, is going to be one of them.
Yeah, I would like to see Joe Thornton win a cup to Pittsburgh next year. Well, as a Caps fan, I do not like the Penguins, but I would quite frankly have a high respect on Joe Thornton, because if the Caps get knocked down the playoffs, Pittsburgh still, I would cheer for Pittsburgh, not only for the whole team itself, Joe Thornton only, because
Patrick Marleau.
Yeah, Thornton and Marleau, because Thornton is starting to work. Is working hard. Will he be the next Ray Bourque like he did to Colorado? Hey,
No.
We'll see about that. Maybe see him do Colorado, maybe another round. Ray Bourque plus Joe Thornton equals 1 cup and retire.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that this is
going to definitely be a coincidence.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the best hockey stories in recent memory. Probably see him go to Washington. Hey, I'll be happy if that. Um, yeah, like if I would choose, he will not be with San Jose anymore. He will go to a team that is a high Stanley Cup level team like Tampa, Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, Colorado, and all these teams that are a powerhouse. Hey, like he needs a cup so bad for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I accidentally turned off my phone. This is why that I'm taking forever with this. Mike Smith from the Edmonton Oilers. He had $2 million per year. Will he resign with the Edmonton Oilers? I think his original was Calgary or Arizona or whatever teams that he played for from long term. But will he resign with the Oilers? Grant, would you like to start?
Yes. I'm going to say he does resign, but again, it's only going to be pretty much a 1-year deal. He's still pretty reliable, but I think at this point, he's just kind of riding the coast until, Edmonton can really find that goaltender. I think at this point, like, they have just such fantastic offensive power and they have a pretty sturdy defense. Like, they're fine with Mike Smith at the moment. But there's going to be like a serious injury or someone's going to get traded and, they're going to really want to, maybe trade a star player for like a star goaltender. Not saying McDavid or Draisaitl or anything like that, but I think overall, Mike Smith, he's still putting up pretty good numbers. But I think if you take a look at it, I think the Oilers will target a goaltender, like a really good backup goaltender in free agency or in the trade deadline next year for next year's player front in case Mike Smith does take a step back like I'm sort of expecting him to. So I'm a little bit hesitant, but I would say the Oilers would give him another 1-year deal.
I personally think he won't resign with the team because he's been floating around with a lot of other teams. And obviously you look at this league, there's a lot of teams that are looking for goaltending. I wouldn't be shocked actually if Cam Talbot, the backup right now, I believe on Calgary, gets another chance to potentially go back to Edmonton because he did a lot of good things over there. Wouldn't I not be shocked if he does resign? No. But with Smith kind of being a goalie that's been a proven veteran, that might need somebody to potentially back up or a team that might need a goaltending boost for a different squad, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So personally for me, I think because he's been on so many other teams, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't re-sign with the team.
Yeah, for me, I won't really mind on Mike Smith because, he's been on a buttload of teams. He was Tampa Bay, he was with Arizona, Calgary, Edmonton, and
Dallas for like a very short time.
I did not remember him going to Dallas, but hey, it's okay. Like what Ben said, will I be surprised if he resigns or do not resigns? No, because he's trying to help out with other teams to go in the playoffs because he has more playoff experience. I would see him go to Washington. Will I be surprised? No, because they need a veteran backup to help out Ilya Samsonov, like we said multiple times. Tampa Bay, possibly. Dallas for another run with if Kudobin does not resign, possibly. Arizona, if they trade some guy if they trade Antti Ranta, maybe. Kemper and Smith can be a good duo. If I would choose, I probably does not resign, possibly, because if you're looking on the Oilers prospect pool, Koskinen is your starter. You got Stuart Skinner and Oliver Rodrigue in Bakersfield, so I think these two players may have a look, but probably Mike Smith cannot because they don't want their prospects to waste their time in the minors. So maybe Rodrigue or Skinner can have a look. So from the Colorado Avalanche, we got Matt Nieto. Does he ever exist? Is he from the Colorado Eagles? Maybe. $1.975 million per year. Will he resign with Colorado? Yes or no? Ben, would you like to start? Matt Nieto.
Sure. Matt Nieto. He's been kind of a third liner. He scored a bunch of shorthanded goals. I think for sure I've seen from him. He flies around on the ice. I think he'll resign for maybe a year or two. Colorado obviously does have a really good depth from their minor league system, but I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Nieto does resign because I think it obviously gives Colorado a great amount of depth, and they're proven that they can, from this NHL restart, and obviously for years to come, that they have a great young team. Obviously, still with McKinnon and Landeskog, they have a lot going for them. So I do think he will resign, but obviously for a short-term deal.
Grant?
Yeah, I'm saying Matt Nieto would resign too. I liked him a lot in San Jose, and he's pretty much just brought the same amount of production coming over to Colorado. I really like him a lot. He's going to be playing on mainly the third line, so I'm not going to go too much in depth. But yeah, 1 or 2 year deal. Sure, I'd resign him.
I don't see him resign because he's a depth middle of your lineup, fourth line, and you're a healthy scratch. Kind of see him go to Toronto, Florida, or Philadelphia is my pick. All right. Like Man Nieto sometimes struggles offensively, but he is more like your anchor PK forward level. Like what Ben said, he is a shorthanded level player. Probably resign him because of that. Probably it's a hit or miss. If I would resign.
He reminds me a lot of former Bruin Gregory Campbell. Obviously, kind of a heart and nose type player, and he just is great on the shorthanded game. Doesn't give a lot on the offensive game, but he obviously is kind of that X factor that you kind of need for a team. Will obviously kind of be shining in the moment of a game that you kind of might not expect for someone to happen. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
All right, and this is an interesting one. I think we're gonna have a debate they're gonna have a debate in the chat. Brian Elliott from the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a goaltender, $2 million per year. Will he retire or go somewhere else other than Philadelphia? Grant, would you like to start? Brian Elliott.
He's going somewhere else. I don't think he'll retire, and he's way too good to be in the KHL. I would say pretty much he's a very good backup, reliable option to a team like Washington, Buffalo, San Jose, a team who really needs a goaltender. Pick him up if you can't pick up Hopi or really trade for a big name. Why not trade for a guy like Mike Smith? Why not trade for a guy like him? I think for Brian Elliott, good veteran, still putting up decent numbers, but I don't think the Flyers will re-sign him, especially since, Carhart has just been playing out of this world this year. I think they need a too of a reliable backup. But he will definitely go somewhere else.
Ben?
Brian Elliott. I think he has an opportunity to potentially go to another team. He's obviously like Mike Smith. He's been floating around with a lot of different teams. He's been great in a backup role. He's been great in a starting role. I remember he was on the Blues. He started more on a starting role, obviously before Binnington came along, and then on the Flyers, he was kind of more on that backup role. Obviously, I think with Steve Mason for that long time, and obviously now you have a great goalie, young goalie now in Carter Hart, who's obviously not going to be replaced at all. So I do see him maybe resigning, maybe or going somewhere. My apology, maybe to like Florida, because they might need a boost there. Maybe a backup role in like Toronto with like Frederick Anderson or something like that. So I don't see him retiring right away, but I think he still has quite a bit left, honestly.
Yeah, and one thing to disagree on you, Ben. Like I said, I still agree with anyone's opinions, but I don't see him go to Florida because you have Sam Montembeault and Spencer Knight left in your organization.
Forgot Montembeault.
So Bobrovsky and Montembeault can hold in. Like Montembeau is NHL ready, so I do not see him go to Florida. And for my decision, I kind of see him go back to St. Louis because I think Jake Allen is.
Yeah, Jake Allen's got to go.
is close. Is next in line for a trade spot, which we can talk about him next week. St. Louis, Ottawa, if Anderson leaves.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or probably a
Devils?
team like Colorado.
Or Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah, to back up Blackwood. Maybe that.
Yeah, or maybe Pittsburgh if they trade Matt Murray.
Yeah.
Matt Murray's going to Seattle, and Tristan Jarry is very good. So I don't see them getting rid of Matt Murray this year.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And speaking of goalies, Aaron Dell from the San Jose Sharks, $1.9 million per year. Will he resign with San Jose or just go anywhere he would like to go? Ben, would you like to start? Aaron Dell.
I think he will resign because I think he's still kind of more fit as a backup. Martin Jones is obviously still their proven starter with their team. I do think, he might be floating around with some other teams, but realistically, from what I've seen with him, I think, at least with a guy like Jake Allen, for the Blues, he's started quite a bit amount of games with that team. Aaron Dell kind of reminds me of a guy that will kind of start games if like your star gets hurt or something like that. So I see him more as a backup, and obviously him just staying in St. Louis with Martin Jones still there. I don't see why he wouldn't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking if he doesn't resign with San Jose, I guess Chicago would probably be the other year to be the back. It would probably be
Crawford,
to back up Crawford. Yeah, to back up Crawford. But I think overall, he should probably stay in San Jose for another year or two.
Yeah, for me, Aaron Dell, he's not going to resign because I think Braden Holtby is on pace for San Jose, which we will definitely talk about today. I'm sorry for the spoiler, but it's just me. Philadelphia can be a good option. I think I saw an article a couple months ago that he might go to Philadelphia. Probably Washington. Who knows about Washington? A lot of options. Probably Dallas. If I would say he will not resign with San Jose because I think they're looking for a veteran goaltender with Martin Jones. So that's it for free agents. I did not know that's going to be that long. So anyway, let's get to our topics. Before we start, I think we have to switch it up a bit. Let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres and the Ottawa Senators are bringing back their gorgeous new logos. Buffalo Sabres, the gorgeous Go Ahead logos, which everybody's dying to see. And the Ottawa Senators bringing back their Daniel Alfredsson era
I love those
type logos.
Throwback.
Yeah, so let's start with Buffalo.
Yeah, man. I mean,
let's start with Buffalo. So, do you think everyone's going to be hyped if they bring back the gorgeous Go Ahead logo? So, Ben, do you think it will happen?
Ooh. Sure, why not? Because Buffalo obviously needs something to root for because their team itself has been pretty putrid overall. If there wasn't a Jack Eichel there, I don't know where they would stand. So obviously maybe a new logo, obviously to obviously keep fan engagement for sure. And then for the Ottawa Senators, they're kind of, I don't say in the same boat, but they're kind of similar, kind of down where they're standing right now with their team. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of them got their logos back because I think they stand out well, and it'd be obviously a cool thing to see some old logos come back.
Yeah, Graham, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing with that is, when I ever see like a Sabres Senators game, they're usually throwbacks. Like they wear their nice little alternates, but they never really like wear their throwbacks like I noticed other teams have been doing. So that is certainly it certainly puzzled me a little bit. I think bringing back these two very iconic jerseys, in my opinion, I think that would be wicked smart. Because again, you're just kind of like, oh hey, although our team's kind of in like a rebuilding stage, hey, maybe we can go do, we can go to this game because I know the Sabres are wearing their Dominic Hasek like jerseys and like, oh hey, at least that's kind of cool. We saw that in person, so that's just me. But always a good thing to come up with new ideas, and I think bringing back these two throwbacks would certainly be a smart move for both organizations.
Yeah. So when sorry.
You're
so.
Good.
When Buffalo unveiled their gold 50th anniversary jersey, so they're keeping that for next year. They said that they're going to rebrand new uniforms for next season. So like what I heard from the article was that from that 50th anniversary jersey, they're bringing back the royal blue that they wore in their first year of existence in 1970. Mm-hmm. So, do you think they might change the colors, but at least stay with the royal blue? But will they do different stripings on the bottom? Possibly. Are they gonna change the crew necks? Possibly.
That's what I was thinking. If the Sabres weren't going to go back to doing their, head logo, I thought they were going to go for more of their 90s look with the pretty bright blue jerseys with the yellow stripes. I thought maybe they would go back to that if, this more awesome looking jersey gets shot down. But I think then they would probably bring back the ones from their early 90s.
Yeah, the jersey the jersey that they better not touch. Who even wears a yellow with a silver type jersey?
No.
Those looked okay, but I wouldn't bring those back. Those looked okay, but I definitely wouldn't have brought those back, yeah.
Yeah. Who even wears that in 2014?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just some bonehead just say, hey, this jersey will have them come back in the playoffs. Sorry, they failed. Yeah. Anyway, huge news that came up last week. Brock Boeser on the trade rumor. Isn't this shocking if that ever happens? Brock Boeser is a guy that he is almost on a MVP level with I can't even speak today. Elias Pettersson. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Will Brock Boeser even be touched, or no, get him out of the trade block?
You can go ahead, Grant.
You get him off the trade block. What are you doing? You have a team. Vancouver has struggled for about the past 3 or 4 years. They were awful. They finally have sculptured a playoff team, and now they want to trade away the best player. It's like when we talked about Johnny Gaudreau a couple of weeks ago. You do not trade away your star forward at this time. You just don't even touch him. You don't even bring him up in the news. You just keep him and just keep on trying to win and build a team around him. That's what I think. But I don't know, maybe Ben or you have a different idea. But that's just me. Do not even touch Brock Boeser.
Well, from what I was reading 8 hours ago, Vancouver Canucks trade options for Brock Boeser. So part of me thinks that they're still exploring potentially some options. So obviously I can't rule anything out. I do agree with Grant, though, on why would you give away your best player? I mean, unless it's for a big haul. I mean, I'd understand maybe for a guy like Jack Eichel, who honestly is trying to go to a cup contending team because he's sick and tired of what's going on over in Buffalo. And to be honest, I don't blame him either. So, I'm trying to think where different places he can go. Obviously, they still have Jacob Markstrom that they have to lock up. They have Elias Peterson in 2021, Quinn Hughes in 2021. I also heard that Tyler Toffoli might be also another name to look out for as well. So I'm looking at potential trade. I'm looking at potential trades, and I don't know how from the hockey writers, and I don't know if you guys will agree on this trade. Brock Boeser to the Wild for Matt Dumba and a 2020 second round pick.
I kind of heard that Boeser is going to Minnesota, and what I heard like yesterday was that Jim Benning, I think that's the GM, maybe.
Yeah, it is.
He's saying that like he's like telling like all of like the sources saying that Brock Boeser is not on the trade block. Like I'm like following up the news to be honest. Like he's saying like don't even mention Brock Boeser on the news. Like we mentioned Johnny Gaudreau. Like Brock Boeser is not the guy who's sick of losing. He's not like Jack Eichel, like the morale of it. Like saying like they think that he's saying that it's just like fake news. Like we're keeping him. He's on his last year of the ELC. We're gonna re-sign him. Like it's just
such the young core around him too. I mean, you have Elias Patterson, Bo Horvat. Like you have a team around him, and obviously Quinn Hughes on the defense. Like you just build with this young core, and at this point, if you re-sign Tyler Toffoli and all goes well, the Canucks honestly could be in for a cup run in a couple years. I think right now they're still like a borderline playoff team, but I think in a couple years, watch out.
They're going all in for sure.
And then lose them for 45 years.
Yeah. Next topic. Mark Scheifele being sued by his personal chef.
All right. This is an absolute mess. This is horrible. Mark Scheifele, he was fined $75,000 by his ex-personal chef. Reports say Scheifele wasn't paying him on time, covering benefits, and he fired him unfairly. Like, dude, he's your personal chef. Treat him fairly. It's like there is no need for Mark Scheifele to really do this. He's just pretty much robbing himself a chunk of money. I don't know, man.
It's just ridiculous, and I just do not know why that Scheifele is about to like. Do we have to talk about this? Because like we don't have to, but
no,
anyway.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like Mark Scheifele, dude. You had your own personal chef and you blew it. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
I just do not understand. But
people these days, man, you never know what's going on. So, unfortunately,
yeah. But don't worry. Let's change it up a bit. Pavel Datsyuk. Don't worry. Let's change it up. Pavel Datsyuk staying in the KHL with the AVTO Mobilist YEKATERIMBURG.
I know. I struggling at pronouncing it too.
Yeah, Pavel Datsyuk.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. So yeah, Pavel Datsyuk staying in.
It's the Lovobis Yellenberg, something like that. That's close.
We're just only gonna spell. That's all.
All right.
So Ben, what are your thoughts about Pavel Datsyuk signing with the AVT ML Mobilist? This and that.
No, it's all right. You can disagree there. I personally haven't heard much of Datsuk's name lately. Obviously, NHL, heard more about it, but obviously him playing still, good for him. He's been a great player for so long. Obviously, he's been to many Olympic teams, great centerman. And obviously, don't really know much about the KHL for sure, but obviously if he's still playing around and kind of doing his thing, good for him. Obviously, I kind of see it in a way of like Ilya Kovalchuk, because I think, is still playing at somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but
he's in Washington.
He's in Washington right now. So obviously he's hanging around right now too. But good for Datsuk, and hopefully he does well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like a Datsuk joke, but it's gonna be more hilarious. So I think Pavel. I think the reason why he's gonna stay is that he wants to teach the young guys how to dangle. This is the University of Dangle by Pavel Datsuk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He might retire.
Absolutely.
His dangles are the craziest, especially on his YouTube clip tapes. They're insane.
Oh yeah.
The stuff he does on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. For sure. Yeah, obviously fantastic deker. But honestly, if he hasn't retired yet, then this guy's the next coming of Jaromir Jagr. Not saying he's coming back to the NHL or anything, but he's going to be playing until his late 40s. Like, I thought once he retired in 2016-17, I'm pretty sure was the year he retired, I literally thought it was done. Like, until this news came out this past Friday, I'm like, wait, he was playing in the KHL for 3 years? It's like, you'd think probably that's such a huge name, you would at least be like, oh, yeah, he plays on this KHL team. Like, at least something along the lines of that. But the fact he's literally, hasn't been the news at all until this past Friday, I was like, man, I mean, good for Pavel Datsuk, man. I mean, I'm sure I would love to see some of his KHL highlights. I wonder if he's still making goalies look silly. That would certainly be if he is.
He reminds me, obviously, this is a different sport, but he reminds me of, Frank Gore, a guy that's been in the league for so long, played on so many teams, started out with the 49ers, was an elite running back, and now he's basically on every single AFC East team besides my team, the Patriots. So it's crazy to think that he's been playing for so long, and realistically, he's still playing a pretty decent level, I wouldn't say high level, but he's still playing decent level. So good for him. Obviously, different sport, but I just want to kind of point that out there. That, still
we only talked about hockey on the all spot. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, but no, you're 100% right. Like, if Pavel Datsuk was to make a return to the NHL, I am all for that. The thing is, he'd probably come back with the Red Wings, which would kind of stink. But then, hey, listen, maybe more people will come to their games.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw an off topic. Baseball, we got the big belly Bartolo Colon, because how long he retired? At age 43 or 41?
I feel like he's still out there, on the free agency block. He's still doing.
I'm pretty sure he's on the free agency block too.
He's been a lot of places, and he's just doesn't throw hard, but he obviously is consistent and throws his good L2 seam. And obviously, the biggest highlight that I still is his home run in Petco Park. Striding on the bases took him so long, but hey, it was worth the moment.
Yeah, and what am I thinking? Who's the guy who did the Rodney?
Rodney,
he's 50 now. He's 44 technically. So pretty much
it's crazy to think with a lot of players these days that are still in the league, playing with so many other teams, you just realize it's all the younger, great talent and everything like that, and then you forget a lot of the great guys in the past. So that's what happens in sports.
Yeah. Next topic, I'm going to have fun with this. Well, Brent, hoping to go to the San Jose Sharks. I'm going to have fun with this one. Ooh. He's not coming back to Washington. That's obvious. Like I said, news about him going to Buffalo. San Jose can be an option. Chicago. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Sorry, Holtby to San Jose. Ben, would you like to start?
Well, personally, for Holtby, he's still, he's a Bruin killer. As a Bruin fan, it pains me to say, but every single time he plays the Bruins, he somehow just – it's a 2-1 type game, and with 5 minutes left in the third period, I'm like, shoot the puck. And every single time they try to shoot, it's like he makes all these crazy plays. I'm like, oh, my God. No, but in reality, he's on that one. He's a great goalie. I'm not going to deny it. And obviously, maybe go into a team like Chicago because realistically, they still have Patrick Kane. They have Ox DeBrincat. They have Jonathan Toews still there. They still Duncan Keith. I know he's obviously not the same guy, but he's still a decent blue liner. And you don't know about Corey Crawford. He's kind of at the end of what his career. Obviously, he's not the same goalie that he used to be. So, in terms of the Sharks, though, Alex, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think he will go there, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, Grant, what about I can't speak. Go ahead.
No, you're good, but I agree with Ben here. I think San Jose will certainly be in the conversation. Like, I think hopefully we'll go to San Jose to like have like a team meeting and like talk it over. Will he ultimately sign with San Jose? Perhaps, but they do have Aaron Dell, who's turning into free agent. Like I mentioned before, I think they'll re-sign him. And Martin Jones, kind of like Brandon Holtby, he's fallen off statistically, but he's still a pretty decent starting caliber goaltender. So, I wouldn't just replace him after this one struggling year. I mean, the entire Sharks team has struggled, for crying out loud. So I think Holtby to the Sharks, maybe, but no, I still see him going to Buffalo. That is still going to be my number one choice, probably until free agency. I mean, unless someone says that we're going to pay Holtby like, I don't know, like a flipping fantastic amount. I don't know, but unless we have like a ginormous contract, I think Holtby will sign like a 5 or 6 year deal with the Sabres.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I might. Didn't I already talk about? Yeah, I sure did. Brendan Lemieux's suspension from the New York Rangers.
All right.
The dirty hit from Eunice Donskoy from the Avalanche before the season was paused. I didn't. Well, like, I did not know that Rangers that he's suspended from the playoffs. To the playoffs, but it's just odd to say the least. We've seen players get suspended to the regular season and the start of the playoffs. But at the start of the pause, and when you're doing the expanded format, it's just kind of strange. How about sim out for 3 games for next season? Would that be simple? Yes. Even when you're starting the format, 5 games, it's a hit or miss.
I think realistically, nothing to take away from Brendan Lemieux because I think he's a solid, decent player on a 3rd line, 4th line type. But if you're talking about I don't know, Vladimir Tarasenko or Steven Stamkos, they might have decided to wait for the next season for a guy like Lemieux. I think maybe that the Rangers, personally, they have a lot of confidence in a lot of their players coming in, especially because they were hot right before the shutdown happened. They beat Colorado from that game that Lemieux got suspended for. So personally for me, I think he should just take whatever the suspension is. And if he has to miss some time, he has to miss some time because I think that he has a lot of other good players around him on the other couple lines that can help take over what his loss would be. But obviously, we'll have to see how that turns out to be.
Yeah.
It's interesting about Lemieux for sure. I think suspend him because you were going to suspend him originally. Don't just give him a little slap on the hand, and be like, "Oh, you're fine," or give him a little $100K fine or whatever. Don't do that. I think he's just still serve a suspension. But at this point, since everyone's just going to be still raw for not playing for pretty much over 2 months, I think at this point we're going to give him a suspension. It was just a stick to the face. Yes, it looked intentional, but I think in reality this should be no more than a 3-game suspension. Maybe just suspend him for the round robin. If the Rangers continue, bring him back. That's just me, but yeah.
Yeah. For Lemieux in my hand, I already talked about it. So yeah. Sorry, I'm so blind. Just kidding. Two more, and then we will move on to our important stuff. There are rumors about Alex Galchenyuk getting traded or signed with the New Jersey Devils. So what are your guys' thoughts about Galchenyuk with the Devils?
Galchenyuk's been a name out there that obviously had a lot of high praise coming out of the draft. Forgot the draft class he was in. He played on the Montreal Canadiens. Then he played with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Arizona,
right? So he's been flown around with different teams, and the Devils obviously they need a lot of help. And obviously Galchenyuk's a great center guy that's a great in the faceoff circle. So hey, if you can get him for maybe a 1-year type deal, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, Grant. Galchenyuk.
Yeah, me too. I think that's a very good depth piece. Like at this point, I don't think he's like a third. I mean, at this point, I think he's pretty much like a third liner, but he's still overall pretty solid. He'll get you some points. New Jersey's just bleeding in the final line. The third and fourth line, they pretty much have nothing. So I would say if you're the Devils, why not even sign longer to a 1-year deal? Give him like a 3 or 4 year deal. Why not? You need him, especially if you really want to make a playoff push in a couple of years. You might as well have a veteran like him around. So I'd say do it.
Yeah, and in my mind, I think Galchenyuk should go to the Devils as like your backup top line or backup second line, most likely on third line. Who's your left wing? You got Paul Mary and Nikita Gusev.
Mm-hmm.
They most likely like flip flop sometimes. So will Galchenyuk maybe be like a boost or like your back seat of your left wing?
He could. I think I could see him maybe. I know Wayne Simmons left the team, but maybe kind of slide him kind of where Wayne Simmons was. Typically, really around that second, third line. Simmons was, I think, he's been playing on the wing, but he also plays in the center role for some teams that he's played with. So. I think Galchenyuk kind of works both ways. I think he could play obviously on the wing and he could play in the center role. So we'll have to find out what happens.
Yeah. Still again. All right. Next, I'm sorry that we have to discuss. There are rumors about Torrey Krug signing with the Detroit Red Wings. Me and Grant talked about before you came in. Ben, would you like to jump over Krug to Detroit?
Well, if it, be painful to see Torrey Krug leave, and I know that a couple days ago actually, because training camp's obviously officially this week for full teams, he got asked about his future, and he thinks that he's probably gonna have to test free agency. So personally for me, I think that he's obviously a great blue liner. I think he's expressed himself that he loves to play in Boston. He's obviously loves playing there. He loves living there. But obviously Detroit's been a place where he grew up. He went to Michigan State. So I think potentially he could be on the move. As Krug is a great fan favorite in Boston too. But the thing about the Bruins that's great is they have a lot of young defensemen that are ready to come in and fill a void if it had to happen. I don't also think too is Zdeno Chara's future too with the team, because you really have to see. Chara probably only has at least a year or two left with the team. You have Brendan Carlo and McAvoy, and you have John Moore. What's that?
And Grzelcyk.
And obviously Matty G. Yeah. So, they have a lot of great young defensemen on that team. But in terms of getting rid of Krug, it'll have to be for a great prospect. Maybe a couple. Maybe like Dylan Larkin, but that's obviously kind of a steep thing there. But I hope it doesn't happen, but would it surprise me he leaves? No.
Grant, Krug to Detroit.
I think Krug might leave I have Krug resigning, but if he does leave the Bruins, I just don't think he's going to want to go to Detroit. I think if he's going to leave Boston, he's got to leave a cup contender. He's going to want to go to a cup contender. I'm thinking Tampa Bay might be crazy and throw Krug a ton of money like a crazy 6-7 year deal. I know painful to say as a Bruins fan, but I mean, I think if the Lightning really have a shot win the cup, I think they could use a guy like Torrey Krug, put him on the same line with Ryan McDonough. I think that is just golden. So we'll see what happens. But currently right now I do have Krug re-signing with the Bruins. But if he doesn't, he's definitely not going to Detroit. I think he's going to want to go to a contender.
Yeah, I knew that. I was thinking that for Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe to my crib, Washington, or maybe New Jersey. Because New Jersey needs some defense. Like Andy Green was gone from the trade deadline to the Islanders. Probably Buffalo because they need a top 2 defenseman. Maybe like Krug and Dahlin can team up. And then everything in a mixed match. Like who knows? Like I still have Krug re-signing, like what Grant said. So like, yeah, like Krug. He said that he wants to walk into free agency to see if anything happens, but yeah, he's still gonna re-sign with Boston. All right, so that's gonna leaves us to 2 more. We're the opt-outs. Hold on. Oh.
Yeah, we can talk.
We can. All right.
The opt-outs briefly. You see the big names there. Travis Hamonic, Mike Green, Carl Alsner, I believe Sam Barchi, Steven Cramper, Zach Trotman. Pretty much all the names have already opted out. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be other ones. You know, it's interesting with a lot of these guys because a lot of these guys are paying free agents, and I felt like for these 3 players on the screen, like I felt like these, like the players were basically like the do or die if they're going to get re-signed with their teams or not. Now that they're not playing, I don't know. What do you think that does for them?
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
Lars Zeller is on the list. He announced yesterday, and Carl Hagelin earlier today. Hagelin is a possibly, because he has a newborn in August or September. Eller's newborn is coming in soon. He's from Denmark, so will Washington like get like a will it be worse with Washington? Possibly, because on Todd Reardon's case, the head coach for the Caps, who for those who do not know, said that Connor McMichael can jump in to take Lars Zeller's spot. It's going to be a bottom line. You're going to have Nick Dowd jumping up to the 3rd line. Or maybe like Brian Pinho, Shane Gersich type guy. Pinho from Massachusetts can be a good jumping because he was good in Hershey, solid in Hershey. Hagelin, I have no idea what they're gonna do if Hagelin leaves. But like it's gonna be tough with Washington in the first round of the playoffs, but it depends on how good they are on the round robin, and yeah. What I'm looking in the screen, Hamonic, Green, and Alsner, I'm not surprised because these guys, besides Green, are bottom line depth piece. Mike Green is your middle of your team up defense core, so I'm not surprised them leaving for the playoffs. So, what are your guys' thoughts about that?
I mean,
go.
Oh no, man, yeah, you go.
All right. Sorry to cut you off, Grant, but I was saying I was actually doing some research about the NHL players that were opting out, and most of the reason is due to a family matter, a personal matter, or obviously, like you said, Alex, like a newborn. So personally, for me, I think with this restart, I agree. A lot of these players are kind of more in the 3rd line, 4th line type players anyway. But you look at it like a guy, and I know the San Francisco Giants aren't coming back, but Buster Posey, obviously a well-known name for a while in MLB, he's opting out of this of this MLB restart for the 60-game season because his wife's expected to have two premature twins. So I think for a lot of these people, I think the family, obviously the family matter over the sports come first. So if you look at about it for a lot of these players, I think it's besides just them, being safe and healthy about it and stuff like that. I think obviously family is so crucial now in this year that, if they have to do what's best for them and their family.
Yeah. All right, so
I agree. You gotta take family fear. You gotta obviously take family fear. So I think these three players and really everyone's doing the smart thing. But it's gonna be interesting though the fact that the majority of these players that are opting out are upcoming free agents. So that'll certainly be interesting come free agency.
Yeah. All right, we got one more topic before we start. We want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the like button. That man greatly appreciates to us. That's gonna make us do more podcast videos and do more team ups and the Stanley Cup ups because we're happy that hockey is back. And let's get into our last topic. The NHL Awards has announced Ted Lindsay, Jack Adams, and the Calder Memorial Trophy. Let's start with Ted Lindsay, shall we? Leon Draisaitl, Nathan MacKinnon, and Artemi Panarin. So who do you think is going to take home the outstanding award? MacKinnon, Draisaitl, or Panarin? Grant, would you like to start?
Sure. I'm going to say Draisaitl just because he leads the league in points and he's been very impressive. I feel like Panarin should be the one that'll take it home, but I think ultimately it will be Draisaitl. What do you guys think?
I'd have to agree. I'd say Draisaitl. I mean, personally for me, McDavid is obviously a talent, a world-class talent out there, but Draisaitl is obviously he's improved his game drastically. For sure. I think he's obviously the others are obviously well deserved as well. But if you look at it on paper, Draisaitl is a big reason for their success this year. And I think he'll do just more once the NHL comes back to their restart.
Yeah, for me, I got between Draisaitl and Panarin. Well, MacKinnon and Panarin are going to be MVP types because how well they did. I'm going to go with Draisaitl for the Ted Lindsay Award because how well he anchored the team at the start, led the league in points and also in assists. Did even better last year. He reached his first career 50 goal plateau. He's So I made a Tecmo hole for which of the 5 teams that need Alexis Lafreniere at the playing rounds. I will post that for tomorrow. And I also talked about Draisaitl and McDavid, that there are now generation players. Draisaitl is like 5 steps away for being a generational player. And like Draisaitl is going to win the Ted Lindsay for sure. All right, so for the Calder, we got Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, and the shocking one, Dominic Kubalik. I thought it would be Ilya Samsonov or John Marino. So it's between Makar or Hughes. Who's going to win, Makar or Hughes? Ben, would you like to start?
It's tough. You really can't go wrong with either. I would say Makar if I had to pick one or the other, because you look at that defensive core for that team. You think about him really being that headline player for that blue line group with the Avalanche. Quinn Hughes, yes, he's a great player, and I think he's going to keep continuing to get better for sure. But I think Makar's obviously made that big jump, and I think it's going to be well deserved that if he gets a chance to win it.
Grant, between Makar or Hughes?
Kubalik. No, I'm kidding. I would definitely say I would lean towards Ben as well. I would say Cale Makar too. I think I would definitely say that I think he's just been a tad bit better. Both very fast. Both can play. They're both offensive defensemen. They are fantastic. But I think for right now, I'm going to have to go with Cale Makar. However, I think in the long run, Quinn Hughes will be the I think he'll probably end up being, the better defenseman overall down the road. But I think for right now, Makar's the better one. I think he should win the Calder.
Yeah, there's been a lot of coin flips between Makar and Hughes. Actually, I was about to bring a whiteboard, but I did not bring. I'll put Makar over Hughes like what Luka did from the bar down.
Yeah.
When Brady said Quinn Hughes will win the Calder Memorial Trophy, and Luka pulled up said Makar over Hughes. I'm going with Kel Makar.
Dang, clean sweep, eh? I thought one of us would have said Hughes, but
yeah, like Makar has been the runaway from like at the start of the first half, but like since like Makar has been like missed time from injuries, Hughes has been taking over a lot. Led the league in points among rookies. It's just so tough to choose. It's been tough to say the least, but like it's gonna be a huge, ginormous debate. All right, Jack Adams. I think we all know who's gonna win the Jack Adams. We got Bruce Cassidy, Alain Vigneault, and John Tortorella. I think the obvious is gonna be John Tortorella because we all know what happened in the free agency and the regular season stuff. Sergei Bobrovsky, gone. Artemi Panarin, gone. Ryan Zingle, gone. Matt Shane, gone. All of those great players were gone. Tortorella, AB, 9-game win streak. Oscar Lindblom having cancer, winning for him. And Bruce Cassidy, no coach ever wins the Jack Adams once they were President's Trophy because that's obviously rare. Where are you guys' thoughts? Tortorella, AV, or Cassidy? Grant, would you like to start?
Cassidy should win, but he won't. I think it will go to Vigneault, honestly. I think it's just simply because the fact that Lindblom, yes, he suffered cancer, and the fact that the Flyers were arguably the hottest team in the definitely in the second half of the season. They were only a point away from passing the Capitals, I believe it was, for the division lead. Yeah. The Flyers deserve to be where they are. I think they all would have ended up winning the division if we played the whole 82-game season. I think it should go to Vigneault. I already know Alan Vigneault is a fantastic coach, going to a cup finals with the Canucks and the Rangers. But, why not, at the Flyers that listen, why not win finally? I think he is one of the all-time great coaches that just hasn't simply won a cup yet. He's had a shot. I think with this very young Flyers team, I think they're going to be contender for at least 3 or 4 years. I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, so I wish I could say Bruce Cassidy, but in reality, I think Tortorella. I'd have to go with Alex on that one because they lost a lot of their big-time players. You'll think about Bobrovsky, Panarin, a lot of players that, kind of brought them to where they were last year were on the move. And he decided to obviously get some new pieces and, give credit to what he's done with that team. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens once the NHL restart comes around, but I'll give it to Tortorella.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna wrap up for episode 13 of the Powerskateshow podcast series. Ben, thanks for coming back. Would you like to add anything?
Well, yeah, thank you guys for having me on once again. Looking forward to having our hockey come right back. We are really, really close to our exhibition games, so I can't wait for that. August 1st, qualifying round starts, so let's get going. And thanks again, guys. Obviously, I'm welcome to be on at any point again if you guys need me. But thanks again for having me for tonight, and thanks again.
Yes, and with that, check us out on our sportscasters: Grant Flood, Floodster, me, DMV Sportsnet, and Ben. Would you like to do your have your sportscasters shown up or what?
Oh, sure. So obviously, Sportcaster, I got my episodes, my personal ones every Tuesday night, every Thursday night. Tuesday nights, I have the one about the New England Patriots, talk about the latest. So I talked a lot about the stuff last night leading up to the franchise tag deadline. Tomorrow, we're going to Return to Sports, just another episode of the latest. Talk more about the return of hockey, what their latest protocols, safety, stuff like that. MLB, same thing. NFL, obviously, some names. Got some extensions, and obviously I get the rest of the safety stuff and health protocols for that. And, just anything that I get to for my notes for tomorrow's shows. But, for those that want to tune in every Tuesday, every Thursday night, really appreciate it. And looking forward to another one tomorrow night.
Yeah. All right, and with that,
all
check
right,
out
everybody. That is the end.
Oh, wait.
Episode 13 of the Powerskateshow. Yeah, you can do the outro. My bad.
I'm sorry. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out our social medias: Instagram and Twitter at Powerskateshow. Check out our sportscasters, DMB Sportsnet. Like I said, Floodster, Ben Kruse, this and that. We want to congratulate Grant on his 1K followers, 1 year anniversary on that day on Instagram. Yep, flexing. Floodster Sportsnet for more daily sports news. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, let's do more podcasts in the future.
Yeah, always love to have Ben back on. Always a pleasure doing the Powerskate show. And next week, it looks like we're going to have Michael Mursky from the Next, so that should certainly be fun as well. But that's going to be it for me, from Alex and Ben Kruse saying, have a good night, everybody. And I'll actually be on in about a half an hour commentating the NASCAR All-Star race. So, want to tune to that afterwards, you certainly can. But that's going to be it for us. Glad to have you with us. Hope you enjoy another edition of the Powerskate Show.